Good morning or good afternoon. Today we will be going over calculator skills number 4, which is exactly star lined to our STAAR test. So what I have done is I have generated some questions that are very similar to some of our previous STAAR assessment questions. So the way I've designed these calculator skills is for you to get a lot of practice with the Desmos, and then of course to get that practice with the Desmos in, to try problem 1 we do it together, and then problem 2 you can do it independently. You try it by yourselves, and then if you get the same answers, then you master the content that we're covering. If you do not get the same answer, then you need to find out where you went wrong, so then that way you can correct it. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and start with calculator skills number 4. So if you look at that equation number 1, you might say, let me simplify it. If you look at this, it kind of looks complicated, but it isn't. It's just a double distributive. And you say, oh, let me try to input this on Desmos. Well, I can't really input it on Desmos. The only thing that I can do here is I can say, well, 1.5 times 4, what is 1.5 times 4? I just input 1.5 times 4, and that gives me the answer of 16. So all I would do on this one, just by looking at this, and I'm going to underline it in blue, I can see a distributive property there, and I can see a distributive property there. And you got to make sure that when you distribute, you got to make sure that you distribute this one like this and this one like that. And you got to make sure that you put the correct negative, because Desmos can do the work for you, but you got to input it correctly. So once again, 1.5 times 4j is 6j. And I got to put my j. I'm going to multiply 1.5 times 4, and it gives me right here, 1.5 times 4 is 6. Then I'm going to multiply using Desmos 1.5 times negative 10. And you got to make sure you put the negative 10, because if not, it won't give me the correct answers. So the answer is 1.5 times negative 10. K is negative 15k. So this is all that's a distributive here. Then going on to the next one, I am going to distribute negative 2.5 times 6j. So on problem number 3 right here, I'm going to go ahead and distribute negative 2.5 times 6. And negative 2.5 times 6 is negative 15. And of course, negative 2.5 times 6 is negative 15j. And then I'm going to distribute negative 2.5 times 8. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one in Desmos. Negative 2.5 times 8. And that gives me negative 20k. So negative 2.5 times 8 positive is going to be, of course, negative 20k. So now I'm going to combine like terms. So in green you will see I have j's and I have j's. So it's like I have j's and j's. I'm going to add the j's, and then of course I'm going to add the k's. So the way you do that is I'm going to go ahead and clear Desmos, and I just input the numbers, and then I know the answer is right away. So just looking at that, I'm going to put it back in black. I'm going to say, well, what is 6j minus 15? So all I have to do is input on Desmos 6 minus 15 gives you negative 9. So 6j minus 15 is a negative 9j. So I'm done with that. I like to scratch it out. Then I have a negative 15k minus 20k. So all I'm going to do is input that one the way it is, negative 15 minus 20 gives me negative 35k. And then I cannot combine cows with chickens. I cannot combine j's with k's. So that is my final answer. Very easy. You cannot put this into the calculator. You can only put the decimals into the calculator, and of course the numbers and the whole numbers, of course. But you got to make sure that you understand that you're combining the j's and the k's, and you're adding and you're multiplying and everything. So if we look at number 2, you see identical. So if you want to pause the video and then try it, and then after that you can restart it. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute. I'm going to first underline the distributive, And I'm not going to do it on Desmos. I'm going to just show you right here. So I'm going to do distributive 2.5 times 6j. Well, what is 2.5 times 6j? Well, that is going to be 12 plus 3. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15. So that gives me 15j positive. Then I have negative, then I'm going to distribute 2.5 times negative 8. And that is negative 16, negative 20k. So that is it for that distributive property. Then I'm going to distribute the negative times the positive gives me a negative. So it's going to give me a negative whatever 3.5 times 8. And I can't do that mentally. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on Desmos. Negative 3.5 times 8. It gives me negative 28j. And sometimes I like to save time. Negative 3.5 times 4. I can just switch this 8 and make it times 4, and it gives me negative 14k. So now I'm going to combine the chickens with the chickens and the ducks with the ducks. I'm going to combine the j's with the j's. A positive 15j and a negative 28j gives me a negative 15, 16, 17, 18, negative 13j. And I got rid of that one. And then I have a negative 20k minus a negative 14k. That gives me a negative 34k. And can I combine chickens and cows? No, I cannot. So that is my final answer. If we look at number 3, I'm asking you the question, which is equivalent to 3 square roots of 40? So what am I going to do here? I'm just going to input it on Desmos. Let me teach you how to input this one on Desmos. And remember, equivalent means equal. Once again, equivalent means equal. So I'm just going to input it straight on Desmos. And I'm going to say 3 square roots of 40. That's 18.97. Then I'm going to input each one of these. I'm going to go 3 square roots of 5. Not equal. 6 square roots of 10. Not equal. Oh, wait. It is equal. So the answer is B. But again, I want to make sure and I want to check every single problem to make sure they are not equal. The next one would be 9 square roots of 7. Not the dividing. 9 square roots of 7. Not equal. 8 square roots of 3. Square root of 3. Not equal. And don't forget the square root is right here. You can do some common ones like absolute value, or they give you absolute value. But once again, the only one that's equal to is 6 square roots of 10 is equal to the 6 is equal to this one. So I have 18.97, 18.97. They both have the same value. This one's wrong, and this one's wrong. So remember that equivalent means that they are equal. So we're looking for which one is equal. And the answer is B. If you look at number 4, I'm going to do the same thing, and the way I would handle it, and let me show you because I did it the long way and sometimes it gets confusing. Sometimes a lot of problems get confusing, so I would input 4 square roots of 80. And I know the answer is 35.777. So I'm looking for one that is equivalent. I'm going to input the first one, 5 square roots of 7. No, 5 square roots of 3. Both of them are not equal, so this one is not right. So 8 is wrong. I'm going to input the second one. So what I do is I like to delete this one, and I like to input 6 square roots of 7. Uh-oh. Didn't push right here. So it's going to be 6 square roots of 7. Not equal. So this one is wrong. Then I'm going to X out, and then I'm going to click again. 6 square roots of 3. Not equal. Get rid of this one. And then last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and input 20 square roots of 5. And they're not equal. So this one has no answer. I only say it has no answer because I purposely put it that it has no answer. So once again, Sometimes I like to purposely do that. But again, usually on the STAAR test, if it is multiple choice, 99.999% of the time, it will give you an answer. And the reason I don't say 100% because everyone can make mistakes. Okay, let's go to number 5. So once again, what is the answer of this system? So what we're going to do is we're going to input the system, and we're going to input the system, and then we're going to find out where the line crosses and where it meets, and then that's going to be your answer. So let me go ahead and get rid of this and get rid of this. I'm going to input x plus y equals to 2. And you might see that it does have an error right here, and it says plotting implicit equations and inequalities is disabled. Why? Because they don't want it in that format. The only thing Desmos does is they'll do all the work for you, but they must have it in y equals mx plus b. And if you don't have it in y equals mx plus b, it will not graph it for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite each equation, x plus y equals to 2, and I'm going to show you how easy it is, and 4x plus y equals to 17. So again, I'm going to solve for the y, so I'm going to circle my y right here, positive y, and I'm going to circle my y. So I'm going to do one equation at a time. I'm going to do my railroad signs, and then I want to get rid of the positive x. How do I get rid of positive x? Let me get those commercials out of the way. How do I get rid of positive x? Right here, I get to do the opposite. So the opposite of positive x is negative x. But if I do that to this side, I have to do that to that side. So I'm going to cancel it out. I like the line. So then it's going to be y equals to negative 1x positive 2. And if I input this into Desmos, it will work. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Railroad, like my line, I'm going to get rid of positive 4. I'm going to do the opposite, negative 4x. But if I do negative 4x to that side, I have to do negative 4x to that side. So that goes away. Y equals to a negative 4x positive 17. Now I have it in y equals mx plus b. Now I can go into Desmos and put these two equations into Desmos and find out where my system of linear equations meets. And then of course that will be our answer wherever they meet. So I'm going to put in the first one, and I can put in y equals to, and the way I did it first was minus x. That's the same thing as writing 1x, negative 1x, plus 2. Then I'm going to do the second one, and I'm going to input y equals to negative 4x plus 17. And then I'm going to figure out where my red and my blue meet. And they meet at negative 3 comma negative positive 5. So that right there is my answer of this system. My answer to the system of linear equations is, of course, negative 3 comma 5. That's my answer. So it has one answer, and there it is. It's exactly where it meets. So the system of linear equations, it does have an extra step, and that extra step, once you solve it, you'll get the right answer. So let's look at number 6. What is the answer of the system? I'm giving you two systems. Remember, if you want to try it, you can pause it and try the problem, and let's see if you get it right. So once again, we got to get it into this form, because remember, Desmos does not like this. It does not like implicit equations. It likes y equals mx plus b. That's the only thing Desmos does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my Desmos to have it ready. And then I'm going to solve each one. So I'm going to rewrite each equation, this one and this one down here. X plus y equals to positive 2. And then I'm going to put 4x plus y equals to 15. And remember the blue. I got to solve for the y. It's got to be in y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to circle here. I'm going to circle here. I'm going to do railroad tracks on both. And then I'm going to solve for the y. Well, in order for me to solve for the y, I got to get rid of that x. the positive x. How do I get rid of positive x? I'm going to go minus x. But if I go minus x to this side, I got to go minus x to this side. And remember that minus x is the same as negative 1x. So this cancels out. I like my line. Y equals 2 negative x plus 2. Or I can rewrite it and say this is y equals to negative 1x plus 2. Both of these are correct. It doesn't matter which way you write it. It's exactly the same thing. Now if I go on to this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to isolate the y. This is a positive 4. How do I get rid of positive 4x? I subtract 4x. But if I do that to that side, I also have to do this to this side. I'm going to draw my line. Positive and a negative 4x gives a 0, so that gives me y is equal to negative 4x plus 15. And the order matters because, once again, I want to put it in mx plus b. So now I have the two systems of linear equations. I have one. I can input this one as, and I don't even have to put the y equals. I can just input it as negative 4x plus 15. There's my system. I have my x-intercepts, I have my y-intercept, I have everything I need to do. I have my slope, my rate of change of being negative 4. Now I also have to put in my second system, so I'm going to pick either one to input. If I want to put in the first one, I can. If I want to put in the second one, I can. They both give me the same answer. It's the same exact thing. Positive 2, there's my system of linear equations. I'm going to find out where it crosses, and it does cross at one point. And it clicks, and that is my answer right there. 4.33333, comma negative 2.333, and that is my answer to this system of linear equations. And I'm going to write it here at the very top, the answer. 4.333 with a repeating, comma, negative 2.333, repeating, close. So that is my system. This is where it meets, and it only has one answer. Very interesting problem that you have to have an extra step. Okay, let's go on to number 7. So 7 is find the range of the function. So remember, the range is my y value. So I'm going to go ahead and just input this into our decimals calculator, and I'm going to find my y, and I'm going to find out what my range is. So I'm going to go ahead and input this as x squared, positive 4x, positive 3. So here it is. My y value is negative 1. I know its y is something less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And then my y value of the vertex is negative 1. And now I got to figure it out. All my y values are above negative 1. So it's going to be y is greater than or equal to negative 1. Because it can be 3. It can be any of those points, but it can't be lower than negative 1. So the answer, my range is y is greater than or equal to negative 1. Try number 8. See if you can figure that one out. I'm going to go ahead and input it. You can go ahead and input it, and then you can figure out the range. Remember, the range is the y values. Range is your y value. So let me go ahead and input this equation. Open parentheses. We're going to do x plus 3. Close parentheses, quantity square, positive 1, and then I'm going to find my y value. So again, my y value is 1, so it's going to be y is either less than or greater than 1, because again, my y value, it can be everything bigger than 1. So is it going to be y is less than or equal to 1, or y is greater than or equal to 1? Well, all our y values are going to be greater than or equal to 1. So that is how you find the range. So this is the answer, y is greater than or equal to 1. So that's how we do the range. If you look at number 10, this one is interesting because number 10, it's asking for zeros. It's asking whether the vertex is a minimum or a maximum. It's asking for also what the y-intercept is. So let me go ahead and erase this stray mark right here. There you go. Very nicely erased. So then I'm going to go ahead and put my ink in blue, and I'm just going to input this equation, and it's going to be a quadratic just by looking at it. Anytime you have something that looks like the FOIL method, it usually is quadratic. So I'm going to put x minus 6, close parentheses, open parentheses, x plus 4, close parentheses, and then there is my quadratic. I have my vertex. I'm going to look for my vertex. Where's my vertex? Oh, wow, it's way down there. So I'm going to click on it. There's my vertex, 1 comma negative 75. And then I know my y-intercept by clicking on the y-intercept, and it is 0 comma negative 72. They're close. Sometimes you need to enlarge the graph to see the y-intercept and the vertex. My 0 is way up there where it crosses my x-axis, but once again, I want to know the axis of symmetry. It doesn't give me the answer to axis of symmetry, but I know what my axis of symmetry is. My axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. So my axis of symmetry in this parabola would be x equals 1. Is this a minimum or a maximum? It is a minimum because it is on the bottom. And my zeros, all I have to do is find them. And I scroll up all the way to find my x-intercepts, which are right here. There's one, and there's another one right there. So my zeros are 6, comma 0 and negative 4, comma 0. That's my x-intercepts, and my zeros are 6, negative 4. Same exact thing. So once again, if you want to try number 10, you can go ahead and try number 10. Pause it and try it out. Remember, you don't have to press this right here, and you don't have to press f of x. That's bad right now. So all we're going to do is input the equation. So I'm going to put it on Desmos. I'm going to put 4 open parentheses. I'm going to put x plus 3. Close parentheses, open parentheses, x minus 4, close parentheses. And there's my equation. I can automatically look at my vertex. And once again, I'm going to go to my vertex. And sometimes they're very close, so sometimes I just need to expand it. My vertex is right there, 0.5, comma, negative 49. If I want to know whether it's an axis of symmetry, what is my axis of symmetry? All I have to do is put x equals to the x value of the vertex, which is 0.5. Now that is an axis of symmetry. Now that is a minimum. Now I can find my y-intercept by clicking on this, unclicking on this, and my y-intercept is 0, comma, negative 48. And then I want to find my zeros. I have to move the graph up, and I have to keep on going up. So I keep on going up. There it is, where it crosses my x-axis. And I have 2 x-intercepts, which is negative 3, comma 0. And 4, comma 0. And my 0 can also be negative 3 and positive 4. So that is number 10. So let's look at number 11. This is a division one. So once again, what I like to do is I like to do a big division with the exponents. So once again, you're looking at this one, and you're looking at this one separate. You have a pair of x's, I put an x. I have a pair of y's, I put in a y. Then what I do is I'm going to not multiply, but I'm going to subtract the exponents because it's division. Division, I'm going to subtract my exponents. So I'm by the power of it's not a power to a power. It's not a multiplication of powers, it's a division of powers. So in the division of powers, all I have to do is subtract it. All I have to do is put in decimals, negative 8 minus 4, and it is negative 12. And then y, all I have to do is subtract 5 minus 2, and the answer is 3. But there's something bad here that happens. I can never have a negative exponent. So in order to get that negative out of the way, I'm going to throw it to the, it's in the numerator, I'm going to throw it to the denominator. So that's all I have to do because I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. So the y to the third, I'm going to leave it to the top of the division sign. And in order to change this positive, I'm just going to throw it to the bottom, and it's going to be x to the 12th, and that is my answer. Y to the third and x to the 12th. And that's my final answer. Okay, try to do this one, and this is a number 7, just so you can know. Try to do that one. So I have a pair of x's, and then I have a pair of this. This is an imaginary 1. Don't forget that's an imaginary 1. It doesn't look nice, but it's an imaginary 1. So I have a pair of x's, and I have a pair of y's. Now I'm going to subtract by the quotient of the powers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do straight math. Negative 6 minus 4 gives me negative 10 over the x. So that's negative 10. And then the y is 7 minus 1, which gives me 6. But once again, I cannot have a negative exponent. So this is a negative 10. I want to have a positive exponent. So once again, I'm going to throw it to the denominator, and I'm going to put it on the bottom, x to the 10, and y stays on the top as positive, and that is my answer right there. Y to the 6 all over x to the 10th. So if we look at number 13, given 2 points, find the rate of change, find y-intercept form, slope-intercept form, find my 0, find my y-intercept. It might sound complicated, and you used to do the formula to find slope, but again, now all we're going to have to do is know that this is an x, this is a y, this is an x, and this is a y. Don't get scared with the negatives. So we have an x and y, we have some negatives in there. So all you're going to do is put the plus sign right here, and you're going to go to table, and you're going to just put them in. So 10 is the x, and 18 is the y. So all I'm going to do is input 10. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to put 18. Then I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to put in negative 5. Click here, and I'm going to put in negative 12. Next step, I have my 2 points. I'm going to add regression, and guess what? The answer pops out at us right there. I have my slope-intercept form, which is y equals to 2x minus 2. And already I know my rate of change, and I know my slope. This is my rate of change and slope, 2. Already I know how to find 0. My 0 is my x-intercept right here, 1, 0. Or my 0 is 1. And of course my y-intercept, I just hover over it, and it is 0, negative 2. And that is how easy it is to find the rate of change, slope-intercept form, 0, and y-intercept using decimals. So you're going to try number 14. Go ahead and try it, see if you can figure it out. And then pause the video and unpause it, and then of course we'll go through the answers. First step, I got to understand that this is an x and this is a y. This is an x and this is a y. I don't have to label it being x1, y1, x2, y2. Remember, the first one is always the x and the second one is always a y. So again, all I'm going to do is input it in table format. I'm going to put the table right there, and I'm going to put the first one as x being 8 and y being 16. So I'm just going to input 8, 16. And now there's no need to be scared of those decimals or those fractions or those negatives. So then the x right here is negative 6. And then I'm going to click negative 12. I'm going to add the regression. And there it is. There's my y-intercept form. Y equals to 2x plus 0. Or I can also say y equals to 2x. That is the same exact thing, because 2x plus 0 is nothing. So once again, that is my y. Now my rate of change, I already know my rate of change. My rate of change is 2. So automatically I know it's 2 over 1 or 2. Both of them give us the same rate of change. I want to find my x-intercept. Oh wow, look at this one. My 0 and my x-intercept is 0, 0. So my 0 is 0. And my y-intercept is also 0, 0. So interesting question on that one, because they're all 0. My x-intercept, my y-intercepts are both zeros. So hopefully you got that one right. Now if you look at number 15, let's look at 15. That is just plain practicing the FOIL method. So again, I'm going to put my ink as it being blue. Remember our FOIL method, we had a lesson on this. I'm going to distribute like this. It's going to be a double distributive. So x times x is x squared. X times positive 6 is positive 6x. So I'm done with this one. I like to scratch it out. Then I'm going to go to green, and I'm going to go negative 1 times x is negative 1x, and negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. Next, I'm going to add the cows with the cows. So again, an x squared is the answer. There's nothing to combine. I'm going to do the 6x and a negative 1 gives me a positive 5x minus a 6. And that right there is my answer. If I look at 16, it is also the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and do my x's. X times x is x squared. Then I'm going to distribute. 2 times x is positive 2x. I'm done with the x's, so I'm going to get rid of that. Then I'm going to do negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times positive 2 is a negative 6. Then I'm going to add the cows with the cows or the ducks with the ducks, whatever you want to combine them with. And that's going to be an answer of x squared positive negative x minus 6. And again, if I want to rewrite it and just write it like this, I can do this. I can say x squared minus x minus 6. That is my answer. Check your answer. Make sure you got it right. That's just simple FOIL. If you look at number 17, 17 is just simple equation. All I have to do is understand that x equals to negative 8. So all I'm going to do is in place of x, I'm going to put negative 8. That's it. So all I'm going to do is put it on Desmos and let Desmos do the work for us. So then I'm going to do 4 open parentheses. X, what is x? Negative 8. So I'm going to put negative 8. And then I'm going to minus the 3. And then I'm going to close parentheses. I'm going to go to quantity square, a squared plus 5. And my answer is 489. How long would it have taken us to do that? Probably a couple of minutes, maybe even 10. But Desmos does it in under 5 seconds. Just knowing how to input the question correctly and you get the answer correctly. If you go to this one, number 18, it is the same thing. It's just understanding that x equals to negative 2. You have negative 2, x equals to negative 2. All we do is in place of x, we're going to put negative 2. So all I have to do is input it into Desmos and put it in. 3 open parentheses. We're going to do negative 2 minus 4. Close parentheses, quantity squared minus 6. And my answer is 102. And since I'm doing them so quickly, if I make a mistake, go ahead and catch it for me and put it in the comments. But right now, so far, I don't think we've made a mistake. And we're going on to our last 4. So this is one that we've done already with the distributive property. You can see that. So look at this one. I'm going to underline this as distributive. I'm going to underline this as distributive. So I'm going to distribute here and here, here and here, and then I'm going to distribute here and here, here and here. So the answer here is 3.5 times 4. And for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and do it quickly. So this is 3 times 4 is 12, 13, 14x positive. 3.5 times 4x is 14x, and if I don't know how to do it, all I have to do is input it in Desmos, and I'm just going to input 1 times 4, and that gives me a positive 14x. And I'm going to multiply 3.5 times negative 6. That gives me a negative. It's going to be negative 6, 12, 18, 19, 20. So that's going to be a 20y. And then I'm going to distribute here into here and here into here. So negative 4.5 times 6. It's going to give me a negative 24, 25, 26, 27 x. And distribute this last one into the last one. It's going to give me negative 8. And then half of that is negative 9y. And then I'm going to get the cows and the cows together. So the x's and the x's. So that gives me a negative 14, 15, 16, 17, negative 13x. That goes away. And then I'm going to get a negative 29y. And that right there is my answer. Next one is very similar. If you want to pause it, try doing the distributive property on your own. So once again, if you can do the distributive property, do it. If you cannot do it, then go ahead and watch the video and try to practice and practice and practice. So I'm going to distribute here, and I'm going to distribute here. Remember, that's distributive property, this distributive property. So I have 2.5 times 4, and since I'm doing mental math, check my work, it is 10x. 2.5 times negative 8 is a negative 16, 17, well, half of 16, negative 20y. So 8, 9, 10, yeah, they're correct. And then, of course, I'm going to distribute here into this one. So negative 3.5 times 4 is a negative 12, 13, 14x. And then I'm going to distribute a negative times a negative, gives me a positive. And of course, I can input it in decimals, and that gives me 4, 8, 12, 13, 14. It's going to give me a positive 14y. Now I'm going to combine the y's with the y's and the x's with the x's. So a positive 10x and a negative 14x gives me a negative 4x. And then I got rid of those, and a negative 20y and a positive 14y give me a negative 6y. So my answer is negative 4x and a minus 6y. So that is my answer. If I don't know how to do it, then all I do is input it in decimals. And our last two problems on calculator skills number 4, it's going to be number 21 and number 22. So again, we want to find rate of change. Automatically, this is already in y equals mx plus b. All I'm going to do, rate of change is negative 3. I also want to find my 0, and I want to find my y-intercept. What do? I just use decimals to do the work for me. So I'm going to input negative 3x, positive 6, and I'm going to find my 0. My 0 is 2, 0, which is my x-intercept, and my 0 is actually 2. And then I want to find my y-intercept. All I see where the line crosses the y-axis, and it is 0, 6. And that is my y-intercept for 21. If I look at 22, it is exactly the same thing, just with a different equation. So I have a 4, that is my rate of change because it is already in y equals mx plus b. I have my 0 and I have my y-intercept. All I have to do is graph it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into the decimals calculator. And I'm going to go ahead and put 4x minus 3. And there it is. There is my green line. I'm going to find my x-intercept. And my x-intercept is 0.75, 0. And my 0 is also 0.75. And my y-intercept is right here, 0, negative 3. So once again, with the practice on the equations, the more I practice, the better and more confident I'm going to get with finding my linears, my quadratics, my just distributive property, identifying it, and that's going to help you on the STAAR assessment. So once again, I hope you have an amazing day. Let me know if you have any questions. And thank you for being such amazing students in the area of mathematics. Thank you for your time and hope you have a wonderful day.